What's up? You're watching Power Up, and we are on to the last component of the week, reading. Trisha and I are going to tell you what we have been reading lately, but we're also going to get stuck into some reading news thanks to Amy Cassandra Martinez, where we're going to kick things off with what's going off. Ooh, what is this all about?
Ooh, well, this, you guys, DC and Spotify are coming together. So Spotify has entered into an exclusive multi-year deal with Warner Brothers and DC Comics to produce a slate of narrative scripted podcasts. So this will involve using Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and many more. Spotify will also be using more of the broader collection of titles and characters for standalone podcast series and will collaborate on programming related to an original intellectual property.
Yeah, that's smart.
Interesting.
That's
yeah.
really
I'm down for that. I would totally listen to that.
There's Podomatic, Stitcher, iTunes. Are they trying to get iTunes? Are they trying to? Where does everyone listen to their podcasts usually? I actually listen to them on Spotify. So
Yeah,
I listen on Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts, interesting. I wonder what Marvel's going to do to step up with this, because this is almost the first thing that DC's decided to branch out first, isn't it? Also, the first thing that I just thought of was how many great voice acting jobs are now going to be out there. And if we're not getting Kevin Conroy as Batman, then what's the point?
If they're not getting Mark Hamill as Joker, then what's the point?
What's the point? That sounds really cool, though, because it's like, why would you read a comic book when you can listen to the story?
It's true.
That's cool. I'm digging that.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. I have not been listening to any audiobooks or podcasts because my time to do that is when I'm driving in my car and we're all at home.
Yeah, dang. I do it walking the dog, but I've got to walk her a few times a day. Yep.
But yeah, I live outside of LA. I'm in the suburbs of LA. So normally whenever I have to go to set for anything, it's a fairly long drive. So, you know, if I'm looking at 2.5 hours on the road each way to and from, that's 5 hours. Only one of my jobs. Well, two of my jobs are that far. But, yeah, then that's like 5 hours that day that I could be listening to a cool DC Comics podcast, scripted narrative podcast. That would be awesome. That's usually how I burn through books. It's funny, since we've been doing Power Up in quarantine, I don't have as much stuff that I'm reading because I listen to stuff on the road. That's my reading time, if you will. So I'm going into the deep recesses of Trisha's reading repertoire while we're in quarantine.
We've got a really great comment by the Catnip Ninja saying, "New show segment. What's the point?" I like it. Nathan says that Marvel has a Wolverine podcast. So, you know.
Cool.
The more you know, and now I know.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know that. That's very cool.
Who would you like to voice out of all the superhero characters? And Amy, I'm extending that to you.
Ooh, do you have an answer, Amy?
Like who I would want to voice?
Who would you want to voice? Yeah.
America Chavez.
Who's that?
She is, I don't think she's as well known, but she's Latinx, and I think it'd be really cool to do that.
That's very cool.
Yeah, or even someone from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, obviously has a lot of, you associate certain people with it.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a little bit more difficult. But I think, yeah, that would be really cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Trisha, who would you want to voice?
Probably Batgirl.
Nice.
I would love to say Catwoman, but I don't think my voice naturally is deep or sexy enough to be Selena Kyle. So, yeah, maybe a Batgirl. What about you, Maude?
Have a guess. Just one guess.
Yeah, you'd be a great Harley.
Okay. I was like, I got it.
I also am like, wouldn't it be
I
cool?
wouldn't mind also voicing a British character or someone who has authority.
Yeah.
Ooh.
To run the ship. That could be really cool as
Maybe
well.
like a Barbara Gordon's not British, but I would totally be down to do a Barbara Gordon too.
Nice. Yeah, I'd want to do like one really zany, but then one really kind of like serious.
Yeah, Poison Ivy's awesome. Again, I don't think I have a sexy enough voice To be
What's your
Poison
sexy
Ivy?
voice, Trisha?
Huh?
What's your sexy voice?
I couldn't do it with video because I would just laugh and be embarrassed. I would have to like do it with my video turned off and then let you hear it that way. I don't know. I don't know about you, but like when you're in a voiceover booth, I feel like you can be a lot more creative because you're not worried about people watching the weird faces that you're making in the moment.
And I signed the biggest NDA, and I would love to talk about it right now, but I never can.
Nope.
But,
voiceover.
it was so good.
Yay!
So good. It was so good.
I think I remember you posting like in the voiceover booth today, really excited.
No.
No? Yeah, I thought I remembered you posting something, or maybe it was just like a picture of you in a booth.
May have been for another VO job. I've been doing quite a few actually at the moment. I need to post and show you guys the AI character that I've voiced.
Ooh.
Kara, I think her name is. She doesn't look anything like me, but she's like, yeah, hi, welcome. I'd like to help you. What can we do today?
Oh, that's cool.
That was fun.
It's that accent. Everybody here is like, oh man, accent? That means she knows what she's doing.
She knows what's up. I need to do more voiceover stuff, actually. But anyway, cool. Thanks for the question, Amy. Really appreciate that. Well, let's get stuck into what we're reading, Trisha.
Perfect. What you reading, Maude?
I'm reading the shit book. And I wanted to talk about this one because I'm not loving it. I have loved all of Sarah J. Maas's books so far. I have talked about them before. The first one was the Throne of Glass series that I am rereading. I'm on book 5 for that already, but I've already mentioned it in Power Up. She's done another series, which was the A Court of Thorn and Roses, which again was a series that I really, really loved. She delves in sort of high fantasy where, you know, it's like the courts of the land, a lot of magic users. Fae is a really big component of them at all. They live for centuries. There's big wars. And I think that she's really good at those. With this one, Crescent City, this series moves into a contemporary fantasy setting. And I feel like Sarah J. Maas has no idea what a 21-year-old college student actually looks and sounds like, because in this instance, the protagonist is just, drink every time they swear. And they just swear for like no real reason, and it's kind of disruptive. And maybe it's because I'm listening to the audiobook and it doesn't sound as natural, but it just feels like it's trying so hard. And I'm, I think, a quarter or a third of the way through the book, and I just don't care, which is so upsetting because her other 2 series are so good that I'm reading one of them for the second time through.
Oh,
so I
that's
think
a bummer.
Yeah, my advice with Sarah J. Maas is just stick to the good stuff, stick to the high fantasy. She writes really good, like, love characters, you know, strong relationships. She goes a little bit too hard with that. She has this thing where, you know, you get a mate, which is kind of like in Twilight, where they have the, bonding, where they imprint. It's a little bit like that, where it's like, they're not just my lover, they're not just my boyfriend, they're not my partner, they're my mate. And that means they're bonded for life. So that's a little bit, but overall, I really like those 2 series. I just don't know if I'll finish this one, and I wanted to air my grievances on this show.
There you go. I love it. I love the honesty. Are you certain that it's the writing and not the delivery of the audiobook?
No, because it's the same narrator who has narrated all the other ones.
Oh, then yeah, for sure.
I really like her. It's 100% her trying to have a contemporary setting, but so it's like, it's kind of like choose your own. That's got the houses and courts again. So it's like you could be a shadow user and you're in this particular court. You can be a fae, you could be a werewolf, you could be a vampire. So you have all of these things, but it's set in a contemporary world. And it doesn't work.
It's not doing it for you.
Nope, which is such a bummer because, like I said, the other 2 are so good.
Are you going to finish it?
No. Lauren, who's actually in Geek Bomb's book club and after show, says Crescent City is definitely more like an urban fantasy and beginning is very info dumpy. It is, and I guess I'm still in the that info dumpy space where it's like everything's an aside. This is happening, and what that means is this, this, and it's just like it's not simplified at all. And yeah, I mean, if you recommend continuing through it, let me know. We'll chat about it on it.
iHill says I loved it overall. So winning endorsement.
Oh, that's L Hill. That's who yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, L Hill. Sorry. Yes.
That's all good.
Yes.
What about you? What have you got? Oh, what is this?
So this is, you might know this author, Maude. So this is Naming Your Little Geek by a friend of mine named Scott Rubin. Now, Scott used to be on a show on Geek and Sundry with me called Brick Battles, and on a show called Hero Clicks. And he's friends with Hector, and he's friends with a lot of the Geek and Sundry folks. And anyway, he had a tiny human before I had a tiny human, and would sometimes bring his tiny human to Brick Battles to play Legos with the adults who got paid to play with Legos. Thank you, Geek and Sundry. That's what Brick Battles was. It was awesome. But anyway, Scott reached out to me when I was pregnant with my tiny human, asking me if I would like to see some excerpts from the book he was writing. And I was like, what book are you writing, Scott? And he's like, I'm putting together almost like a name dictionary for kid names, but what their nerdy affiliations are. So you could look up Luke and see all the different references of Luke throughout fantasy, fiction, all different, whether it be video games, literature, science, and kind of go through alphabetically and pick names based on their cool nerdy affiliation. And so, of course, I was like, yes, here are the 4 names I can't decide between. Tell me more. And so I gave him 4 names, and he gave me back like a huge paragraph on each one. And he said, you know, would you mind like throwing out a little endorsement or something when I publish the book? And I said, yes, of course, because it legit helped us choose our child's name. Like, I think this is an awesome book. And it's now sold on Amazon. It's out now.
Is it a secret what the other names were?
One of them that I've talked about publicly before is Luke.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, it was between Luke and Logan. Well, it was between Luke, Logan, and Parker when we got to the hospital.
Trisha!
Yeah, it was between Luke, Logan, and Parker when we got to the hospital. And we looked, and we were like, well, we'll wait till we meet him before we know. But we looked at him right away and said he's not a Parker. Oh. But we were having a hard time deciding between Luke and Logan. But those were the 3 that made it into, like, the final cut. But Scott and his research was super helpful in that. And so I love that he has this book. And, like, I don't know if any of you out there know someone who is currently incubating a tiny human, or you and your family are. There are so many very, very boring baby name guides.
Yeah.
And books. And just stuff that it's like a total slog to go through. And I do think that a lot of people of our generation are like, I want to name my kids something that has meaning to me. And maybe meaning in a world or a piece of fiction that I absolutely adore. And I want that name to carry that meaning, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that it's something that's very timely. And good.
This is the thing. Like, I've already picked my child's name, and it's a nerdy girl name. But and I've already called my dog Zelda. Do you read this really, really blunt screen cap of Gen Zs on TikTok and how they describe millennials?
Okay.
It was basically like just a checklist of Maude. And so they were like, oh, yeah, I'm a millennial. I'm still obsessed with my Harry Potter house, and that really defines me. And I get so upset if someone gets it wrong. I'm a millennial. I'm just sitting here in my 1-bedroom house with my kid named after a geeky character. And I was like, ow, bitch. Like, what?
Whatever. The only thing I hear bad about that is the, like, dumb voice. Other than that, I think that's high praise. And yes, you've got your 1-bedroom house and your child named after a cool fictional character. And yes, you know your Harry Potter life because it inspires you. Like, I would give it all, like, hell yeah voice, not like voice.
We were getting mocked ruthlessly about those things. And I was just like, okay, maybe what is it? Okay.
I don't know why this is my name for people that are super mean. I don't know why that's my voice. And
I like that.
Right? Just hands. I don't know. But yeah, I just think it's all in the delivery. So you do you. And don't let Gen Z people trying to hate on millennials affect how you're doing.
Don't say that I'm in Slytherin, otherwise it will wreck my day. You know, it's just the little things. It's just the little things. Are we going to get Amy back for some Bombs Away Q&A?
Yes, welcome back, Amy.
And
Hi, guys.
And what are you naming your kids after which geeky character?
Oh, right. Okay, well, this question is from Patreon, patreon.com/geekbomb. And I will be getting one from Twitch as well. This one's from Steven Summers. If you had to have a time-traveling house guest live with you for a full year with which one would you choose? Okay, there are 4 options.
Yep.
Yourself in your early 20s, yourself in your early 50s, your parents in their early 20s, or your children in their early 20s.
Whoa!
Oh, man.
I think I would want to live with 50s-year-old Maude and just be like, what are all the things that you regret not doing so that I can do them in the next 20 years?
That's a good one. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't choose myself in my 20s. Myself in my early 20s was like trying to hold down a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other girls. And that's what I did, yeah, when I first moved to LA. 4 girls in a 2-bedroom, 2 baths, so we each shared our bedroom and our bathroom with one other person. It was the only way I could make LA rent work. But yeah, trying to get a job, trying to keep that kind of crazy lifestyle, and clubbing all the time. Yes, I would not want to live with myself in my early 20s.
Yeah,
Definitely
20-year-old
not.
Maude would throw up on me at some stage, and I would be so furious at her, and I'd probably smack her, and then she'd probably try to, I don't know, use some sort of litigation because she was a brat.
Yeah, definitely not me in my 20s. I agree with you. Self in early 50s would probably be very cool. For me, that's what I'm like. By the time I hit my early 50s, Logan will be grown and might even be out of the house. So, like, what does me look like at that point? That would be interesting. But I think I'm more intrigued by my parents in their early 20s. Because at least my mom in her early 20s was, like, settling down and starting a family and doing the young mom thing. My dad was a little bit older than that. And my dad would be crazy in his early 20s. I don't know that I want my dad in his early 20s. But my mom in her early 20s would probably be not too far life-wise from where Nate and I are currently.
Wow.
So that would be interesting. Or your children in their early 20s. That's so hard, too. I can't wait to see what Logan's like in his early 20s.
I would not want my children in their early 20s when I'm this age. No, that would be so weird. I think that my parents meant that when they were 18, if I were living with my parents when they were in their early 20s, I would be parenting them, and I'd be like, be quieter at night.
No. Okay, this next question.
Sex, Amy, they would be having lots of sex.
No, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. This next question is from, where'd it go? STS2884. How has your hair been holding up since quarantine?
Yeah, well.
I'm a brunette.
It looks good. Not a brunette like me brunette, though.
No, it's still a dark blonde, but I mean, like, it's out to there.
STS says, I only asked because it looks great.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, STS. Mine, so I did like fun colors underneath before.
Yeah, I can see them.
And, well, I have been overtoning the crap out of the underside of my hair. Because in order to get the cool colors before, they had to like lighten that part of my hair underneath so that it would hold color. So it was like fading to this weird browny orange lightened color. So I've been covering it over with blue and purple overtone like once a week on my own to try to make it so you can't see like that orangey brown color, which I'm covering it up, but I don't think that you can really still see the color anymore. It's just whatever. At this point, I'm just in survival mode. Like, get me through until I can get to a professional again. And like, I have no nails, although, yeah, I did just order this stuff that I would need to do UV nails at home. I might try it and it could look awful. I'm probably going to try to...
You're more of a perfectionist than I am. I have that at home, and it, for me, feels straight off. But I have been using the glue-on and stick-on nails, and they've been amazing.
Oh, I hate those.
No,
I feel like every time I type, those pop right off. Like if you're spending a day typing a bunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm on my computer 24/7. That's why I like the gels, because they're, like, harder. so that they'll withstand clickety-clacketing all day. But yeah, I'm going to try that. And I also ordered everything I need to cut Logan's hair.
Oh, dear.
Because his hair is like emo kid hair right now.
Wow.
And so I'm gonna try to corn cut it this afternoon, I think.
You'll do great. You'll do great. It'll never be as bad as the time when my mum cut my hair from here to here and I hated it. So, yeah, no, you're fine.
My hair was always really long, and I remember when I was little, my mom taking a piece of Scotch tape, like a long piece of Scotch tape, and taping it across my hair in the back, and then just cutting across the top of the Scotch tape. But my hair was like down to my butt, so like a blunt cut when your hair is down to your butt is not the end of the world. But then the tape held all the hair, and she could just throw it out, so it didn't make a mess. It was kind of ingenious, but that was my haircut for years, probably until junior or senior year of high school, when I actually went and got my haircut somewhere, and it was like shaped at the bottom, and I was like, oh, what is this? Oh my God, I never knew. But I was a nerdy kid, so nobody cared. Yeah, nobody cared. Thank you all so much for your questions. Thank you, Amy, for going through and getting questions from Geek Bomb and from Twitch. You guys are awesome. Oh, I see people in chat. You see the bowl cut comments in chat? So many people saying their parents gave them bowl cuts. I'm so sorry.
Ooh.
That's not fun. There's one from Anthony Daniels' account saying, why are you such an icon, Trisha? So maybe we'll answer that in Power Down.
I don't even know what that means, but thank you. I mean, I'm nerd mom and it hard. So if that's your definition of icon, that's where I'm living right now.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for our Power Up edition of this week, where Trisha and I talk about what we're currently playing, watching, reading. Amy, Cassandra, Martinez, thank you so much for joining us to do Bombs Away and delivering the news. Guys, if you want to follow her at Amy Cassandra MTZ, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Woo, there you go. We are going to be shooting some Power Down, and if you want to get in on that, patreon.com/geekbomb. It's a perk for $10 and more. We'll be doing that at the end of every single episode. If you guys don't want to miss any of these episodes because you may have just been tuning in at the end, we'll be doing all of these VOD on Geek Bomb's YouTube channel. If you haven't hit the follow button, do it. If you feel generous, give it a subscribe right now, because we'll read out and shout out to you guys when we press stop record here. But thank you again. We'll be back next week with an amazing guest. I can't wait. It'll be amazing.
It's going to be fun.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Be kind, stay safe, spread positivity throughout the entire world. And yeah, we'll see you soon.